There was no room at the inn, but I still couldn't say no. A few days ago, our family attended a lovely Christmas party filled with friends and family and lots of children who helped all of us grown-ups participate in a traditional Mexican Posada. Now, Posada is a Mexican Christmas tradition where children dress up as the Nativity and go from door to door asking for lodging. Only at the third door are Mary and Joseph invited inside and given shelter. Well, at this particular reenactment, I was at the first door, and I had to play along with other guests as one of the innkeepers who denied the expecting couple a room at the inn. Now, this was a familiar and annual experience for most everybody there at the party, but for me, I'd never seen a posada before, and it began very charmingly, and we all stood behind the first door and listened for the knock, and then we opened the door, and the children stood there in their robes, Mary and Joseph and some of the shepherds, and my own daughters were angels. And they sang a song asking to be allowed to spend the night, begging for help because a child was about to be born. Then it was our turn to respond, and we, the innkeepers at the first house, had to say, "No, go away. There is no room for you here." Well, I couldn't do it. I know it was just a little children's play. It wasn't real, but suddenly I was hit by the power of what I was saying. I was saying no, not to strangers on the street or to an organization that was asking for support. I was saying no to the Christ child at the door, and I was saying no to my own children who stood there with him. And I was suddenly overwhelmed by how many times in my life God has sent or at least placed me in front of people in need. And I had a million reasons why there was no room in my heart for them. Of course, if they'd had a big sign on their clothes that said, "We aren't what you think, we're different, God has special plans for me," well, then, of course, I might have responded differently. But people don't come with signs that tell us who they will become. If they have signs at all, they say things like, "Please help, I'm hungry. I will work for food," or "I'm a veteran and I just lost my job." Yes, I know there is always the argument that there are better ways to help someone than by putting money in a tin can. Support the homeless shelters, support the rescue missions. Yes, do that. But Bethlehem didn't have a rescue mission, and so it took a while before someone, whoever that was, offered Mary and Joseph what he did have to give. And standing there that night at the Posada, I realized that I always want my children to see me as someone more likely to say yes to someone in need instead of no. And so the next day after the Posada, my family and I looked for new and nearly new clothes and coats to take to our nearby shelter. There wasn't much, but it was a wonderful way to start a new family tradition, maybe even a family mission. And I know that a few people will be warmer this Christmas. And I hope that wherever they are this Christmas Eve, they will feel not only the warmth of our small gifts, but the love that came with them. And may you know the joy of saying yes this Christmas. Yes to others in need, and yes to the one who knocks on the door of every heart, asking for just enough room to bring new life, new hope, and great peace. Merry Christmas.